So the big question is this: how do small business owners like us grow our leadership, develop our teams, and scale our business in a way that allows us to get our products and services out to the world, yet still remain profitable? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. I'm Bradley Hamner, and this is the Club Capital Leadership Podcast. Welcome to The Bottom Line, a new weekly podcast series that we drop every Thursday to complement our weekly Monday podcast interviews with the industry leaders. These podcasts are going to be designed to give you short, impactful, and value-driven information that you can start using right away in your business. I value your time and attention and will do my very best not to waste it. Just get what you need and go. So with that, let's get into today's episode. Are you an agency owner looking to grow your revenue, increase your bottom line, and better manage your taxes? Club Capital is here to help. Club Capital is the largest accounting and advisory firm for insurance agents in the country, providing monthly accounting, tax strategy, and CFO services. Way more than bookkeeping and your everyday run-of-the-mill tax prep, Club Capital is focused on providing financial and tax advisory services that help you plan and forecast your agency's performance. Their financial dashboards and agency forecasting tools help you better understand your agency's historical performance, create and measure future targets, and see how your agency compares to your peers around the country. Imagine what it would be like to understand the impact to your bottom line when deciding to hire a new employee, or forecast the impact rate changes or commission rates will have on your business. With over $200 million in tracked annual revenue and $140 million in tracked annual expenses, Club Capital has the data and the team to help you make better informed decisions for your agency. They will help you turn that back office stress into the backbone of your agency's success by giving you the tools to take your agency and your leadership to the next level. Visit club.capital today to book a solution overview with one of our business consultants. Club Capital, way more than a CPA firm.
Hey, everyone. So you've heard the adage before, the value or your net worth. Let me start that over. Hey, everyone. So you've heard the adage before, I know many times, that your net worth is your network. Well, I just was on a call with a client earlier this morning, and this came up, and I shared this with him, and I thought I would share it with all of you. And so, like I'm a Mac, Apple person. So I have a Mac and my iPad and, I'm all in the Apple ecosystem. Well, it doesn't matter what phone you have. You've got a Galaxy, Google Pixel, whatever that Giannis Antetokounmpo advertises on TV or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Let's say that the phone, I've got the iPhone 14. And what are they? Like $1,000, maybe something like that. Well, if somebody said, hey, I'm going to sell you this phone for $100, you would be like, well, why? You'd think it was stolen or something, right? So the phones are going, especially for a new phone, is going to be $1,000. Well, what if that same phone, somebody said, somebody's going to pay me $100,000 for this phone? Nobody initially would pay $100,000 for this phone. Well, the guy I was talking to, his name's Rob. He's a big Tennessee basketball fan. And I mentioned to him, I said, what do you think the value of the phone of Rick Barnes, the head basketball coach at Tennessee, is? Because of all of the contacts that he has. And the reason I was sharing that with him is because I said, I think that you have a Rembrandt in the attic. You guys remember when I did an episode about that, basically uncovering assets. And at the time, when I shared that, and I was speaking specifically to the documents, the Word documents, the Google folders, the Excel spreadsheets, the things that you've spent probably hours over your career looking at, those are assets that if you unearth them, they could actually begin to kind of unlock some value in your business. But one of the things that I had not thought about until this conversation with Rob was just the value of his network. See, we were talking about acquisition. We were talking about how is he going to get more customers. And he and his team have employed several different strategies to grow their business. And we were talking about cold outbound. Well, one of them was we were kind of around the topic of networking, basically, and how it does work, but is that really a scalable strategy? What does that look like? And I said, one of the things that I think is really valuable about you and about your company is the breadth of the Rolodex of clients that you have, the people that that you can connect other people to. I said, if you were able to get it out of your head, out of your phone, put it onto a spreadsheet and send it to me, there's tremendous value in just those contacts that you have. And of course, those contacts become even more valuable if you actually connect me. And he has for me, I have for him, he has with many other people. Hey, you should call so-and-so. It doesn't directly impact his business, but long term, over time, they begin to see him as an invaluable place in the community because he's a connector of people. And so I was just thinking about that same idea of your network is your net worth. And we've all heard that before. I've heard it so many times, but many times when I share, especially on these Friday episodes, a lot of things you've heard before. Maybe all I'm doing is kind of resurfacing those and reminding you of something. What I'm saying is I think that at the end of the day, we sometimes just don't realize the assets that we actually have. And if we don't realize the assets of the business, the things that we actually see are valuable, then other people aren't going to see that. But if we can begin to see certain things, such as just the contacts in his phone and his ability to be able to connect those people, now he can begin to think about, well, how could I actually monetize that? How could I actually turn that into values to where it brings business in? And so depending on the business that you have, there's a lot of different ways to do that. There's partnerships that you could have. There's spotlight events that you could do together. There's webinars you could be on together. And when I think about even some of our podcast sponsors that we have and people I've gotten to know, and even my partnership initially with Club Capital, there was no cold outbound reach. It was just connecting with people. And there was value in that. And as my network has grown, as I'm sure many of your network has grown, you become an invaluable place in your community and for your business. It's like a spider web effect that goes out. And so there's a few different things with this to share, but to think about different levels of assets that you may just dismiss or not even consider how valuable that they are. And that your network in particular is one of those valuable assets, and that you could actually begin to leverage those assets maybe in ways that you've kind of forgotten about. And so that's what he's going to do. That's what Rob's going to do. And we're going to put together a playbook and a strategy around that of things that he could do. He's maybe consider hosting a breakfast, and he pulls people together, not to do a presentation or a pitch for his services, but just to bring entrepreneurs together. And because they're shaking hands and having a lunch, he starts to meet people and he starts to gather things together. I think about Dan Martell. He does founders dinners wherever he goes and speaks in New York or wherever. He'll put together a founders dinner, and he invites different people, and people want to go to the dinner because not just because of Dan, but because of all the people sitting at that table. You could do the same thing. You could host a dinner, you could host a lunch, you could host a breakfast for people. Go to a nice place, pull 10, 15, 20 people together simply for no other reason than to network. It's what Vistage and BNI and other things. But the difference is you're the curator of all of those. So hope that served you. Just an idea that I was sharing with a client today and thought that might be helpful for all of you. All right, everyone. Till next episode, lead well.